Hey y'all, it's me, Kevy. I got tagged in a whole bunch of tag videos recently. I don't want to saturate your feeds with a bunch of small tag videos, so I'm gonna do a whole bunch at once. First up is the New York Times by the book tag, and I was tagged by gunpowder, fiction, and plot. 1. What book is on your nightstand right now? I don't have any books on my nightstand, but my headboard is adorned with my drag history books. Mother Camp, Jim Flint, The Boy from Peoria, Chicago Whispers, Tell Me About It, Creating a Space for Ourselves, Drag Queens of New York, an illustrated field guide, Out and Proud in Chicago, Just One of the Boys, and for some reason Frida Kahlo's Diaries up there too. 2. What was the last truly great book you read? I mean, how do you define great? Is it exclusive to classics and modern classics, or is it just anything that fills me with joy? I'm gonna say Still Life by Louise Penny. It has so many elements I love, mixed together in a beautiful mystery that surprised me and filled me with glee. 3. If you could meet any writer, dead or alive, who would it be, and what would you want to know? I'm going to choose 2. First is Roxane Gay, because of how much I related to her memoir, and it would just be great to talk with her about things that aren't easy to discuss with other people. I would also really love to meet Sister Souljah, even though I haven't read any of her books yet, though I want to, but I love her music and what it stood for. I would just love to sit in a lecture hall and listen to her talk about race for hours. 4. What books might we be surprised to find on your shelves? People might be surprised at the number of theological texts on my shelves. I went to a Lutheran university, so I acquired a lot of these through my studies. The ones that are still on my shelves are the more queer inclusive ones, such as To the Tune of a Welcoming God by David Weiss, and The Trans Evangelist, The Life and Times of a Transgender Pentecostal Preacher by Sister Paula Nielsen. 5. How do you organize your personal library? I organize my books thematically. The most important ones go on my top shelf, so Toni Morrison, trans and queer books, and art history. Then less presently significant books go on the lower shelves, like the ones that I read in high school. 6. What book have you always meant to read but never got around to? Or is there anything that you're embarrassed that you haven't read yet? Not particularly. Now that I'm using audiobooks to listen to classics, I feel like a whole world is opening up to me, and the things that I didn't think I'd be reading before, now I will be able to. I'll get around to them eventually. Maybe one I'll say is Agatha Christie's Evil Under the Sun, because that is one of the bigger ones and has a movie adaptation and everything, so I should have read it by now, just the ebook hasn't gone on sale yet. 7. What book did you feel you were supposed to like but didn't? Do you remember the last book you put down without finishing? On paper, I really should have loved Kafka. I love absurdist crap. Stuff that makes no sense when you think about it too hard, so you just have to go with it. But it was so bad and boring. And the last book I DNF'd was Frankenstein. 8. What kinds of stories are you drawn to? And what do you steer clear of? I love a classic whodunit. I love closed circle mysteries, dual timelines, mysteries set on a jury room, stories on trains or airplanes. I try to avoid romance and stories with too much masculinity. 9. If you could require the president to read one book, what would you choose and why? I would have Biden read From the War on Poverty to the War on Crime, the making of mass incarceration in America, so he could learn more about the damages caused by policies and laws that he's personally responsible for. Also, any or all of the books mentioned in my cancel culture tag video. Next up is the 10 Reasons to Love Star Trek tag, tagged by Shelby Swearingen. 1. In Star Trek, technology has saved the world. We are currently living through a technological revolution. Tell us a way that technology has helped you. What's your favorite tech? My best friend lives on the other side of the country, but thanks to video calls, we get to talk face to face every day. And we can watch TV together like we're in the same room. 2. Cooking has become an art rather than something required for survival. By next generation, Star Trek has gone vegan. What is your favorite cookbook or food story? I'm gonna stretch this a bit and choose Hunger by Roxane Gay. It's a memoir about her relationship with eating and her weight. A dishonorable mention I'll include is The Hungry Soul. This is a fascinating book about the philosophy of eating, but I will warn you that it is full of bigoted garbage. Which, we're literally just talking about stuffing our faces. Why do you gotta bring your hateful views on queer and gender issues into it? 3. There is no need to exchange money, and the acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force in our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity. What is your best money advice? My best money advice is to become a communist. 4. They drink a lot of coffee and tea. I love the episodes where a convivial cup of coffee is served up on the bridge of the original series. What is your favorite beverage? My favorite beverage is vitamin water ice, blueberry and lavender water. This beverage is so relaxing, and I always stop and inhale its calming aroma before I take a sip. I have one of these every single night before I go to bed. My fridge is packed with these. It is a must-have. 5. All the Star Trek series attempt to address social issues of their time. What is your favorite book on a topic that is important to you? My favorite book on drag history is Jim Flint, The Boy from Peoria, because it's specifically about Chicago's drag history, so it's much more personal to me. 6. Spock and Kirk have the best relationship on any show or series ever. Share a book with a unique or complex relationship, or share your favorite Star Trek relationship. Bob and Daryl from Daryl by Jackie S. Basically, and spoilers for the next few seconds, Bob starts out just as the man fucking Daryl's wife, and then they start to hang out, become friends, and eventually become intimate. And as is common with queer relationships, even after they've become intimate, Daryl really struggles with whether or not Bob cares for him or just sees him as another hole. Also, Daryl's struggles with his gender identity are at play in this relationship, making it even more complicated. It's so good. Please read it. 7. Star Trek has a wonderful style. Over the series, the uniforms and characters' style have evolved. Some have been hideous and some have been wonderful. Do you have a personal uniform? I like to wear things that are cute but comfortable, and no matter what, they need to be colorful. I hate neutrals. Hate seeing them, hate wearing them. I also don't like warm colors, red, orange, or yellow. Maybe as an accent, but rarely will I wear them on their own. 8. Star Trek has spawned an era of cons and fan culture that supports individuals and brings us together as a community. What is your favorite TV show, movie, book, or author event that brings you together with your community? For several years as a teen, my dad and I would attend the annual Chicago TARDIS convention, Thanksgiving weekend. We had a handful of friends we'd always go see, but it was just wonderful being around all these people who loved the show as much as I did. But eventually it became too expensive and we couldn't attend anymore. It was my favorite family tradition and I really miss it. My love for Doctor Who kind of fizzed out after that, and now I've not properly watched it in years. 9. Star Trek books have beautiful and weird cover art. What is your favorite weird and beautiful book art? I think the cover for An Elderly Lady Is Up to No Good was very well done. It's designed to look like it's been knit, which elderly ladies are known for, so it fits the theme of the book. 10. I love Star Trek's vision of hope for the future and the optimism that humans can create a better society. Data wants to become more human-like. Are you a pessimist or an optimist when it comes to being human? Do you think we can make the Star Trek dream for the future a reality? That's a complicated question, and I don't know if I can easily answer it. Maybe the closest I could get to would be an optimistic cynic. Like, I think people are shit, but I also think everything will work out in the end and be okay. Next, we've got the Confessions of a Kindle Hoarder tag, original tag, and tagged by The Hungry Bookworm. Hey! Quick note from Future Me. The Hungry Bookworm is also going to feature me on her channel as part of her Meet the Booktubers series. Future Me is currently recording that. I'm not sure when it's going to come out in relation to this video, but hop on over to her channel and get to know some more booktubers. Okay, back to the tag. 1. Be brave. How many books, samples, articles, etc. do you currently have on your Kindle? 198. 2. Samples, yay or nay? Do you use the sample service, and if so, how many samples do you have unread on it? I don't use samples, so nay. 3. Do you even remember? What is the oldest book you have on it? The one that has been languishing on there the longest unread. The oldest book on my Kindle that I haven't read is Ethical Sex. 4, bright and shiny. What is your most recent book? My most recent download was The Woman in Cabin 10. I've been wanting to read Ruth Ware, and then this one went on sale, so I snatched it up. 5, fess up. How quickly do you get around to reading them after downloading? It varies. Some I'll start reading right away, others will take months. Just depends on what I feel like reading. 6, keepers. Do you keep a book on your Kindle after reading it? And if you really enjoyed it, are you in a mind of buying a physical copy of it? I'll usually keep it on my Kindle app, but I rarely, if ever, buy the physical book. 7, subs. Do you use a subscription service, i.e. Kindle Unlimited, and do you hoard them? Nope. 8, go forth and multiply. Other places you read your Kindle/ebooks on. I mostly read my Kindle books on my laptop and also on my phone. 9, lucky dip. Close your eyes and scroll through your library and pick a book. Tell us what it is, and more importantly, have you read it? And if not, are you going to? Okay, and here we go. Is it recording? Wait, I didn't close my eyes. Let's see. Oh, well, you know how women are. Okay, so this is a collaborative text by Irvin S. Cobb and Mary Roberts Reinhardt. It's just 2 essays relating to gender and stuff. Probably if I ever get around to, after reading the rest of Reinhardt's mysteries, if I go into reading more of her other genres, I'll probably come back to this. 10, AOB, talk about your habit. When I had to take public transportation to and from work, that was always my favorite time to read. But now I'll read anytime I have an opportunity. 11, don't be shy. Do you have any suspicious books on your Kindle that you don't want people to see that you're reading? Alright, next is the Are You Like Jane Austen tag, and I was tagged by both Leo and Michael K. Vaughn. 1. Jane Austen was an artist and writer. Give yourself a point if you're an artist. Give yourself an extra point if you are a writer. I am an artist. I'm a drag queen, video editor, screen printer, and yes, writer. 2. Austen was born to a large family. She had a total of 7 siblings, 1 sister and 6 brothers. Give yourself a point if you have 3 or more siblings. This is tricky because growing up I was an only child, but now I have 4 step-siblings. So I guess I'll give myself a half point. 3. Austen did not enjoy her formal education. Give yourself a point if you did not care for school. No point, I loved school. 4. Dark humor is woven throughout Austen's writing. Give yourself a point if you have a grim sense of humor. You must share a dark joke in order to get this point. So I'm gonna share 2 jokes. The first was told to me by my grandmother when I was a kid, and she's since forgotten it, so I still occasionally will tell it to her, and she'll just laugh and laugh. So there was this boy at a baseball game, and he sees way in the front row up there a man with an empty seat next to him. So the kid goes up to him and is like, hey, can I sit there? The man says, sure, that was my wife's seat. The kid asks, well, where is your wife? And the man responds that his wife is dead. So the kid asks why he didn't bring anybody else with him, to which the man replies, they're at the funeral. I also want to share this excellent joke I found on Reddit. Morris and his wife Esther went to the state fair every year, and every year Morris would say, Esther, I'd like to ride that helicopter. Esther always replied, I know, Morris, but that helicopter ride is $50, and $50 is $50. One year, Esther and Morris went to the fair, and Morris said, Esther, I'm 85 years old. If I don't ride that helicopter now, I might never get another chance. And she replied, but Morris, that helicopter is $50, and $50 is $50. The pilot overheard the couple and said, folks, I'll make you a deal. I'll take the both of you for a ride. If you can stay quiet the entire time, not say a single word, I won't charge you. But if you say one word, it's $50. Morris and Esther agreed, and up they went. The pilot did all kinds of fancy maneuvers, but not a word was heard. He did his daredevil tricks over and over and over again. Still not a word. When they landed, the pilot turned to Morris and said, by golly, I did everything I could to get you to yell out. But you didn't. I'm impressed. Morris said, well, to tell you the truth, I almost said something when Esther fell out, but you know, $50 is $50. 5. Jane broke off 2 engagements and died a spinster. Give yourself a point if you are single. 6. Austen experienced low periods or spells of depression. Give yourself a point if you have struggled with mental health. Yeah. 7. Jane moved away from her childhood home in her 20s. Give yourself a point if you've lived away from your childhood hometown or region. Yeah, I went out of state for college and then I've moved around a bit recently. 8. Jane was not vain. Give yourself a point if you have very little interest in vanity. 9. Hair was of little concern to Austen. Give yourself a point if you cannot be bothered with your hair. 10. Austen expressed her distaste for hot weather. Give yourself a point if you dislike the heat. I hate the heat. I sweat easily and try to avoid perspiration as much as possible. I feel like if y'all are cold, you can put on more layers. But if I'm hot, I can only take off so many. Okay, my final score was 6.5. You and Jane Austen are friends. You two could enjoy a long walk in the country and chat about all the things you have in common. Cool. Alright, the last tag in this video is the Reader Problems tag. I was tagged by Rosie Cockshut. 1. You have 20,000 books on your TBR. How in the world do you decide what to read next? I would just read whatever I'm in the mood for. 2. You're halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed? If I'm really hating it and I don't have any other obligations, like it's for a buddy read or a readathon or something like that, I will stop reading it. 3. The end of the year is coming and you're so close, but so far away on your Goodreads reading challenge. Do you try to catch up? And how? To be fair, this isn't something likely to happen to me. I like to set super easy goals. I started this year's challenge at 15. Then as I hit my goal, I can increase it. Now it's set to 100, which I no doubt am going to hit in the next month. 4. The covers of a series you love do not match. How do you cope? I mean, most of my books are Kindle, so I don't know, it isn't much of a concern. 5. Everyone and their mother loves a book that you really don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? I'll usually call Kipple to talk about it, or we'll probably already be on the phone together, and she will have no idea what I'm talking about because she hasn't read it. She hasn't read any of these, but she'll still sit there and listen as I rant about it. 6. You're reading a book and you are about to start crying in public. How do you deal? I go for it. If people stare, let them. I probably won't notice anyway. 7. A sequel of a book you loved just came out, but you've forgotten a lot from the prior novel. Will you reread the book, skip the sequel, find a synopsis, cry in frustration? I'll usually just look up a summary so I can ingest the whole thing in as concise a manner as possible. 8. You do not want anyone to borrow your books. How do you politely tell people no when they ask? I mean, I never really had this problem since I can't really loan out my books because they're all digital. 9. You've picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? I'll try to find something super duper short that I can guaranteed finish in a single sitting. Then I can feel like I've accomplished something and get back into it. 10. There are so many new books coming out that you are dying to read. How many do you actually buy? Very few. I will typically only buy a book when it's on sale, unless I need it for a specific purpose, like a readathon or something, and can't wait for a sale. I usually don't like spending more than $3 on a book. 11. After you've bought new books and you can't wait to get into them, how long do they sit on your shelf before you read? Well, isn't the answer to this in the question? Like, if it's a book you can't wait to get into, then you're not gonna wait to get into it, right? Yeah, no, I would read it ASAP. So there you have a whole bunch of tags. Hope you don't mind me squishing them all together. Which of these 5 tags was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if it pleases and sparkles, I'll see you in the next video. Mwah!